It was the kind of weekend that reminds everyone why the title race in Scotland never stays quiet for long. Rangers delivered exactly what was required at Ibrox: a strong performance, plenty of goals, and most importantly, another 3 points added to the table. The victory by 4-1 was not just about the result. It was about momentum, confidence, and sending a message that this team is not going to fade away as the season reaches its most intense stage. With only 7 matches left to play, every single game now carries enormous weight, and the players look fully aware of what is at stake. What made the weekend even more interesting across the league was the way results elsewhere played into Rangers' hands. The gap at the top tightened again, and suddenly the pressure shifted. That is how quickly things can change in Scottish football. One week you feel like you are chasing, the next week you feel like the momentum is with you. Rangers not only won, but they also improved their goal difference, and that could become extremely important before the season is finished. In tight title races, sometimes it is not only about winning, but about how many goals you score while doing it. There is a growing feeling around the club that these remaining matches are not just league fixtures anymore, they are finals. Every match carries that cup final atmosphere where there is no room for mistakes, no space for dropped points, and no time to dwell on missed chances. The players know it, the supporters know it, and the coaching staff certainly know it. If Rangers manage to win all 7 remaining matches, the path to the league title becomes very clear, and that is why the focus inside the club right now is entirely on consistency and mentality. One of the most exciting parts of the current team has been the emergence and impact of young players, and one name that continues to get supporters talking is Mikey Moore. His performances have brought energy, creativity, and fearlessness to the attack, and you can see how much he enjoys playing in front of the Rangers' support. There is always a risk when fans start to fall in love with a lone player, because football can be unpredictable and temporary deals often come to an end just when supporters want them to stay the most. But in this case, there are reasons to believe the story might not be over yet. Moore himself has spoken positively about his time at the club and has not hidden the fact that he would be open to staying longer if the opportunity appears. That kind of attitude always goes down well with supporters because they want players who genuinely want to wear the shirt, not just pass through for a season. Of course, a lot will depend on what happens with his parent club and their situation, because league position, finances, and squad changes can all influence whether a player is sent out on loan again or kept as part of the first-team squad. From Rangers' point of view, keeping a player like Moore for another season would feel almost like a new signing without paying a massive transfer fee. He already understands the league, he understands the expectations, and he seems comfortable in the environment. That kind of continuity can be extremely valuable, especially when a team is trying to build something stable and competitive over several seasons rather than constantly rebuilding the squad every summer. While the attention of supporters is naturally focused on the title race and attacking players who create chances and score goals, there are also important decisions being made behind the scenes regarding the defensive line. One of the players whose future has become a major talking point is the central defender who arrived on loan earlier in the season and initially needed time to adapt to Scottish football. Early performances were sometimes inconsistent, which is not unusual for a young defender adjusting to a new league, new teammates, and a different tactical system. However, as the season progressed and the tactical structure became more balanced, his performances started to improve significantly. He began to look more confident in duels, stronger in the air, and more comfortable when playing out from the back. Confidence is everything for a defender, and once that confidence grows, the entire back line often looks more solid. Recent matches have shown a player who is far more composed, more aware of positioning, and more willing to take responsibility in important moments of the game. This improvement has naturally started a conversation about whether Rangers should try to bring him back on a permanent deal in the summer. Modern football is not only about building a strong team on the pitch, but also about making smart business decisions off the pitch. Clubs now look at players not only in terms of performance, but also development potential and future transfer value. A young, physically strong defender who is already gaining experience in a title race environment is exactly the type of profile that clubs often try to secure before his value rises even further. Another factor that could influence the situation is what happens to his current club at the end of the season. If they face relegation or major squad changes, There is often a period where players move on and clubs are more willing to negotiate transfers. Rangers could try to take advantage of that situation, especially if the player himself feels that his development and playing time are better in Glasgow than elsewhere. For many players, playing in front of large crowds and competing for trophies is a huge attraction, and that is something Rangers can always offer. As the season moves towards its final weeks, everything now feels connected. The title race, the development of young players, the future of loan signings, and the transfer plans for the summer all depend on how these last 7 matches unfold. Winning the league can change budgets, attract better players, and convince current players to stay. That is why the pressure and excitement around the club right now are both incredibly high, because everyone knows that the next few weeks could define not just this season, but the direction of the club for the next few years. As the season edges closer to its conclusion, the atmosphere around the club is changing from cautious optimism to genuine belief. You can sense that the players understand the opportunity in front of them, and that belief often becomes the difference in tight title races. It is no longer about experimenting or rotating too much. It is about putting the strongest team on the pitch every single week and treating every match like it decides the season, because in many ways, it does. One mistake, one draw, or one loss could shift the entire momentum again, and that is why the focus inside the dressing room is said to be extremely intense right now. Another important aspect in these final weeks is squad depth. Titles are rarely won with just 11 players, and Rangers will need contributions from the entire squad if they want to finish the job. Injuries, suspensions, fatigue, and pressure all start to play a bigger role at this stage of the campaign. Players who maybe have not started every match could suddenly become very important, and often championship-winning teams are the ones where the squad players step up in crucial moments, whether that is scoring an important goal, making a key tackle, or simply helping the team control a difficult match away from home. Looking ahead to the summer, the recruitment team is already working on identifying targets and making decisions about current players. Modern football does not allow clubs to wait until the season ends before planning transfers. Negotiations, scouting, financial planning, and contract discussions are happening constantly behind the scenes. Rangers are clearly trying to build a squad that is not only capable of winning domestically, but also competing strongly in European competitions, because that is where clubs can grow financially and attract higher-level players. Defensive reinforcements remain a key topic, especially with loan players potentially returning to their parent clubs. Continuity is always important in defense, and managers prefer defenders who understand each other's positioning and communication. If the club decides to bring in new defenders, they will be looking for players who can adapt quickly to the physical nature of Scottish football and the pressure that comes with playing for a club where every match is expected to be a win. Not every player can handle that pressure, which is why recruitment decisions are so important. Midfield is another area where balance is crucial. Every successful Rangers team in the past has had a midfield that can both control the game and fight when necessary. You need players who can pass, players who can run, and players who can defend. When those qualities are balanced properly, the team becomes much harder to play against. In several matches this season, when Rangers controlled the midfield, the entire game became easier, and when they lost that control, matches became much more difficult than they needed to be. The attacking side of the team has shown flashes of real quality throughout the season, especially in matches where Rangers managed to score early. When the team plays with confidence and tempo, they can create a lot of chances and score multiple goals. The challenge now is maintaining that level consistently over the final run of matches. In title races, sometimes the most important thing is not playing beautiful football, but simply finding ways to win matches even when the performance is not perfect. Supporters will also play a massive role in these final matches. Ibrox can be one of the most intimidating stadiums for opposing teams, especially when the crowd senses that something important is happening. The energy from the stands can lift players in difficult moments and push the team forward when legs start to get tired. Many title races have been influenced by home support, and Rangers will be hoping that the atmosphere in the remaining home matches becomes a real advantage. There is also the psychological side of the title race. When teams know they cannot afford to drop points, the pressure can either make them stronger or cause mistakes. Experienced players become very important in these moments because they understand how to manage games, how to slow the tempo when needed, and how to keep the team calm. Young players bring energy and excitement, but experienced players bring control and composure, and a successful team usually needs both. If Rangers can keep their momentum, avoid injuries to key players, and continue scoring goals while staying defensively organized, they will give themselves a very strong chance of finishing the season on top. The equation is simple but difficult at the same time, when the remaining matches and the title becomes a real possibility. That is why inside the club there is a feeling that everything now comes down to these final games, these final moments, and these final performances that could define the entire season. What will also be crucial in these final matches is game management. There have been moments this season where Rangers dominated matches but did not kill the game early, leaving space for opponents to grow into the match and create problems late on. In a title race, that can be very dangerous. The best teams know when to slow the game down, when to keep possession, and when to push for the second or third goal that completely finishes the contest. Learning that balance often separates champions from teams that fall just short. Another factor that cannot be ignored is mentality away from home. Winning at Ibrox is always important, but league titles are often decided on difficult away grounds where the atmosphere is hostile and the pitch is tight. Those matches are rarely comfortable, and sometimes they are decided by a single moment, a set piece, or a defensive mistake. If Rangers want to win the league, they must show the same confidence and discipline away from home as they do in front of their own supporters. Grinding out wins in those environments is usually what makes the difference at the end of the season. As everything builds towards the final stretch, you can feel that sense of anticipation growing with every passing week. Players know what is at stake, supporters know what is at stake, and every match now feels bigger than the last one. Momentum, confidence, and belief can carry a team a long way in football, and right now Rangers are trying to build exactly that feeling at the perfect moment in the season, when every point, every goal, and every performance could be the one that ultimately decides where the trophy goes at the end of the campaign. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. A cloud of uncertainty has settled over Ibrox following whispers of a heated exchange between manager Danny Röhl and forward Youssef Chermiti, an incident that now appears to have led to the player's removal from first-team involvement. While the club has yet to release any formal statement, murmurs from within suggest tensions had been quietly simmering before finally boiling over behind closed doors. Sources close to the dressing room hint that the disagreement was no fleeting moment of frustration, but rather the culmination of differing views on commitment and tactical discipline. Röhl, known for his meticulous approach and demand for structure, is believed to have taken a firm stance, one that has effectively sidelined the young striker, for now at least. Chermiti, once regarded as a promising attacking option with the potential to carve out a significant role, now finds himself in a precarious position. Those familiar with the situation suggest the player was left frustrated by limited opportunities, while the coaching staff may have questioned aspects of his application. As is often the case in football, such matters rarely unfold in isolation. Around the training ground, the mood is said to be tense but controlled, with senior figures keen to avoid further disruption. Supporters, meanwhile, are left to piece together fragments of information, fueling speculation over whether this is merely a temporary disciplinary measure or the beginning of a more permanent departure. In Scottish football, such stories tend to gather pace quickly, and this one is no different. With no clarity from official channels, every passing hour invites fresh conjecture. Will bridges be mended, or has a line been firmly drawn? For now, the situation remains unresolved, lingering like a question yet to be answered. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.